Are you ready for muscles, lycra, and one-liners galore? Here are 19 reasons to watch The Running Man. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is a place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. And I am going through all of the movies and adaptations of his work, and in this video, we're still in 1987, the third and final movie from that year based on Stephen King's work. It is The Running Man, and I'm going to get to my 19 reasons for you to watch this Arnold Schwarzenegger flick in a moment, but first, a couple of things to plug. So, I will keep these short and sweet. Everything you need to know is in the description, but basically the things I wanted to highlight are the Constant Writers podcast, where I talk to indie horror authors about them and their feelings about Stephen King. Some really great conversations for you to check out there. You can watch them here on YouTube, or you can listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to my weekly newsletter. You get more indie horror author recommendations in that newsletter. You get a short story from me every week in your inbox, and as a thank you for signing up, you get a free ebook of my short fiction just for giving me your email address. So hey, go and get that and read it and enjoy it. You can pick up more of my short fiction on Amazon. There are the Tiny Tales of Terror volumes, which you can go and buy now on Kindle, either Kindle Unlimited or you can purchase to keep. If you do check those out, thank you very much. Hey, leave a rating or review if you do read them as well, that really helps. And lastly, you can also pick up the Ultimate Stephen King quiz book, which I published in 2022. Spent a couple of years of my life writing this. This is available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, and again, if you've got a copy, consider leaving a rating or review because it would all help. And finally, I think I may have said that was the final one, but this is the actual final one. Check out the description to find my profile on Letterboxd because, hey, we're talking movies a lot at the moment, and you can see what movies I'm watching, King or otherwise. Come and follow me on there, I'll follow you back. Let's swap movie recommendations. So as I mentioned earlier, we have reached the third and final King flick of 1987. It is The Running Man, based on the 1982 Richard Bachman novel of the same name, and I'm going to give you 19 reasons to watch it in this video. Now, as I try to do with these videos, any spoilery reasons, things that might ruin it for you if you've not seen this film before, I'll cluster those all together towards the end, and I will give you a spoiler alert so you can bail if you need to bail. But otherwise, you can stick around all the way to the end and enjoy this very 80s movie. Well, not enjoy the movie because we're not watching it, but you know, you can enjoy looking back on, talking about, hearing me just drone waffle on. I'm waffling, aren't I? Shall we just get into it? Yeah, here are 19 reasons to watch The Running Man. Oh, and I should say, at least at the time of the recording, it appears to be available on Paramount Plus, if you've got that as a streaming option, or you can buy it or rent it on loads of places, including right here on YouTube. Right, we're really doing it this time. 19 reasons, Running Man, let's go.
It's time to start running!
So my headline reason for you to watch this is basically it's a meeting of worlds, two 80s heavyweights, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stephen King, coming together at last. It shouldn't work on paper, but on film, it kind of does really. It's admittedly much more of an Arnie movie than it is a Stephen King movie, but it's fun, it's a bit campy, it doesn't outstay its welcome, and it will entertain you. So give it a go.
Give you a lift?
So this was the first of the Bachman books to be adapted, and at the time of recording, the only other one that's been adapted is the 1996 movie of Thinner. And if you pay careful attention in the opening credits, you'll see that it is listed as being based on a book by Richard Bachman and not Stephen King. Actually, when Rob Cohen bought the rights for this, King hadn't been outed as Bachman. They just knew it as this book that they wanted to adapt. They didn't know Stephen King was involved. And they sort of let the rights just linger and gather dust for a bit. And then the story broke that King was Bachman, and they just had enough time to get things rolling and make this movie happen. So it's worth touching on the hook for this one, because I think it's one that modern audiences will very easily get. So The Running Man is basically a game show that broadcasts in some dystopian version of 2019, where criminals get the chance to fight for their freedom against some muscle-clad freaks. The only thing is, they never win, until Arnie's Ben Richards, a framed cop, shows up. He's not happy. Cue violence. Okay, so this is an 80s Arnie movie, and it gives you exactly what you would expect for that. Big muscles, cheesy one-liners, cool deaths. It's a fun popcorn movie, and I will never not enjoy it.
I'm warning you, I get sick. Air sick, car sick. I'm gonna throw up all over you.
Go ahead. Won't show on this shirt.
So let's talk about the cast, specifically Arnie. He is good as Ben Richards. Totally different to how I imagine Ben Richards in the book, but nonetheless, he's good. I like him.
I love you! Yes!
So Arnie obviously holds this movie close to his own heart because he called his campaign bus the Running Man when he was getting started on his political career all those years ago.
Plus, I'm not into politics, I'm into survival. Nowadays, French is the same thing.
So elsewhere, we've got Maria Conchita Alonso as Amber Mendez. She is great. Likewise, Jesse Ventura as Captain America.
So, when you hear the tone, control your jealousy and leave your message.
But perhaps my favourite is the real-life TV host Richard Dawson, who is superb as Damon Killian.
Don't touch the hair.
You will love hating him.
You're beautiful. I love you, yes!
Some other familiar faces in the cast include Kurt Fuller from The Greatest Movie Ever, Wayne's World. He plays Tony. And then we have Dweezil Zappa and Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac as the guys who are the leaders of the resistance. Because, sure. It's worth sticking with music for a moment just here. Did you know that the dance sequence at the start of the show The Running Man was choreographed by one Paula Abdul? No? Well, now you do. So more musical trivia for you. Erland van Lith, who played Dynamo in this, he was actually a classically trained opera singer. That is him singing in the movie. Impressive. The random fact for you, the game show in this movie was actually a driving inspiration behind American Gladiators, which became just Gladiators here in the UK. I mean, obviously with some less death, murder, violence, and in the UK's case, far less John Fashanu. Awooga. American viewers are now going, what the fuck is a John Fashanu? Google it. Lastly, before spoilers, you do have to take this movie with a pinch of salt. It's an 80s action movie after all, but you'll have a good time with it. And it's very much of its time, even though it's set in this weird 2019, right down to the Adidas branded Lycra tracksuits that the game show contestants wear. It's just a nice, warm 80s dystopian hug. Okay, this is the point where we're going to talk about differences between the book and the movie, favourite lines, favourite scenes, potentially things that might spoil it for you if you haven't seen it already. So consider this your spoiler alert, and if you need to drop out here, then please do so and come back soon. Otherwise, stick around because I've got a few more reasons for you to watch The Running Man coming right up.
I'll be back.
Okay, let's get on to differences from the book. There are quite a few, and not just Arnie being this absolute ripped beast in the movie. The format of the game show is wildly different. So in the film, basically, the contestants are thrown into the ring with these hunters and have to fight it out. In the book, they are actually on the run in the wild. The public are looking out for them and trying to shop them off to the game show hosts. And yeah, they're out there actually running for their lives. I prefer the format in the book far more, but I totally understand why they did what they did in the movie. I think to do the book version, you probably need a mini-series. So also in the book, Ben Richards goes on the show basically because his family is in desperate need of money. He's not a cop who fought the law and got framed. Did he fight the law?
The hell with you. I would not spy on helpless people.
He's not a disgraced cop who ended up being framed. But then, that wouldn't be 80s enough, would it? Just needing money. So, let's up the stakes a bit and do what they did here. So, time to talk favourite scenes. I mean, take your pick from any of Arnie's fighting scenes. As for favourite lines, I mean, again, there's a few. We've got Arnie throwing in his trademark, "I'll be back." We've got the "so bad it's good, just plain zero." We've got Killian saying, "don't touch the hair." But for me, mainly because I still have a quite juvenile sense of humour, the old woman calling Richard one mean motherfucker, that kind of edges it.
I can pick anyone I choose. And I choose Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
So Stephen King Easter eggs in this? No. And no links in the cast either. Really struggling for this section. The closest I've got is that in the movie, when we see Arnie breaking out from prison, he's wearing a World's Gym sweater. And at that time when this was recorded, World's Gym was owned by Arnie. So lastly, this might not be the last we see of The Running Man. So in 2021, Paramount Pictures announced that a new version, much more closely linked to the book, was being worked on by none other than Edgar Wright of Shaun of the Dead and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World fame. Now that has me interested. What about you? Let me know in the comments. So there we go, 19 reasons to watch The Running Man. Let me know what you think of this classic 80s flick in the comments. What are your favourite scenes? What are your favourite Arnie one-liners in this? And would you like to see Arnie in any more King films? Or would you like to go back in time and insert him into any King films? Do you want Arnie running around the Overlook? Do you want Arnie driving Christine? Do you want Arnie as Pennywise? Let me know. Let's get creative with it. Some things to plug for you. The quiz book, the ultimate Stephen King quiz book to fund your Stephen King trivia nights. I wrote that, by the way. You can pick it up. You can also sign up to my newsletter. You can also check out the Constant Writers podcast. And you can follow me on Letterboxd. All the links are just down below. So do go and check them out. And come and say hi on Instagram as well. I'm at Dave Musson, always happy to chat. Bad movies, good movies, Stephen King books, random stuff. Just come say hi. Next up, we've got our final movie of the 1980s to tackle. And spoiler alert, it's one of my favourites.